Bad call, but go for it.
Oh, baby.
So we're just gonna jump right into it, huh?
Something's gonna get real fucked up.
We are drinking whiskey.
I put gin on top of my gin.
Giggling about bullshit. Shape your nutsack to play it with the boys? Oh my god, we're recording.
I'm trying to fill the void.
That's what you want, an alabaster smooth penis.
Zig and Larry ignore a topic. Oh!
Hey, buddy.
Hey!
What's going on? I thought I'd dust off one of the old pictures for you.
I appreciate that.
So are we still going?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
Okay. Alright, so the violent weirdness right at the beginning of that episode was the fact that my microphone decided to take a huge shit. It took me a while to realize that I can't unfuck it currently. So we're going with the internal mic on the computer, and we're going to hope that goes just fine. Wouldn't it be an episode if technology didn't fuck me right in the butthole?
Yeah, I think we're just staying true to form here.
I was so excited to show you your own ass on your computer. And then just watch it giggle, and then I was going to play around with you, and you couldn't hear a goddamn word I was saying.
No, but it still made me laugh hysterically. Because when it first popped up, my thought was, man, that's an ugly set of titties. I waited while he was drinking beer.
Fantastic. Well, if you wait for me to not drink beer, you're going to be waiting a while, pal.
Exactly.
That's not the way to get stuff done.
No.
That's not what you do when you're on a bunch of antibiotics and pain medication. That's not the way to go.
You get the high life.
You get the high life.
What mixes good with antibiotics and pain meds? Well, high life is near water. Let's just do that.
Absolutely.
It's medicinal.
It's like a golden color. I'm sure that's probably fine. So my week, I got a hole drilled in my head, and you partied with comics till 2 a.m. in your own house.
Yeah, just one.
You
comic.
win.
Just one comic.
Okay.
Yeah. If anybody that listens to this is familiar, Rena Calm is who headlined the show Thursday night, and she crashed with us. And as paranoid as I have been about keeping safe, Rena is even more paranoid about keeping safe.
You mean from COVID or rape or just mugging in general?
Yeah, all of the above. I don't
getting touched at a CVS.
Now I'm pretty. I go fast and loose on the CVS touching.
It's a little disturbing to me every time I can casually just toss out the word rape. It's just like nothing. It's like it's eating Skittles. There's like just a handful one at a time. Just throw in a couple of rapes on that, drizzle some cunt on the top, give it to the kids. It's fine. It's no big deal.
I just like going to CVS and they're like, "Here's your prescription," and then they give me a little on the nut sack, and I go, "Well, that's something extra for me. Thank you."
And this is why I won't go back to Walgreens.
Walgreens can suck it. They just punched me in the mouth.
Those bastards. Even though CVS doesn't sell cigarettes.
Yeah, but they still sell booze.
See, they don't in Chicago.
Really?
Which is the big.
Yeah, they're still selling handles of Crystal Palace vodka and Tin High whiskey. I'm like,
nice.
If you're really concerned about your clientele, you wouldn't still be selling rot gut swill in plastic handles.
Do they sell anything good, or is it only sadness whiskey?
I think there's some Crown Royal, so yeah, just sadness whiskey.
Okay, so it's just like handles of plastic handles of stuff where that just says whiskey with a backwards Y written in like Sharpie on the outside of the bottle.
Yeah.
And one bottle of Crown that's dusty because nobody wants to touch it. It's too nice because it comes in its own little satchel.
Yeah, and it's right next to the pork cracklings made with real lard because you've given up a long time ago.
You know, I found married to a Puerto Rican girl. If you call those chicharrones, you feel much better about yourself when you eat a whole bag.
Yeah, that's Nicole kept calling him chicharrones, and I was like, I don't know what that is, and you need to stop saying it like that because you're an Italian girl, and that while that is the Puerto Rico of Europe, you can't say. Is that not right? Is that a bad assessment?
I think it's probably totally right. It's just that she's going to take it in a really weird way. Good news is she doesn't listen to anything I do, and rightly so.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and I can't get away with shit because Nicole listens to every episode.
Fantastic.
And stops the episode and turns to me and goes, "Well, much like the Gilpin family whiskey episode."
Ah, yay! Gilpin. Hey, did you ever get an email from those people?
No, I never did. I keep checking.
They are not up to date on their email blast.
No,
man, that was forever ago.
Very disappointed.
You would think that all the obvious tens of thousands of people who sign up for that email list, you would think that you would be getting stuff on the daily, just like updates. If they have like an especially diabetic person come in for like really good pisky, I mean, you would just throw that stuff out. You have a whole team for just tossing that stuff off.
We knew that you wanted to know that on the day of Wilford Brimley's death, we squeezed that son of a bitch for everything he was worth.
We juiced that cocoon bastard.
That oatmeal shillin' prick had a second bladder. Who knew?
We made whiskey out of his piss, and we smoked the rocks that came out of his kidneys, because we're fucking crazy!
So today was, I had to buy a new lawnmower.
Oh, did you lose the good fight with that goddamn bastard?
I did. I lost. I don't know if I'd call it a good fight, but my neighbor, he had a buddy that what he does is fixes mowers, small engines, stuff like that, and so Nate was like, "Hey, I'll have him come over, take a look at it." And so he looked at the mower and he messed around with it and he gets it apart a little bit and he goes, "Here's the good news and the bad news." He said, "Which will you?" I said, "Oh, give me the bad news." He goes, "The mower's shot." And I said, "And what's the good news?" He goes, "You get to buy a new mower." I was like, "That's not good news." I don't know. He goes, "Well, you can go get a really cool one." I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to spend $300 on a piece of machinery that I leave out year round and could give a shit about it. I buy disposable mowers." That's what I get the $120 models where I'm like, fine, if it lasts 4 years, I consider it a fucking miracle.
Yeah, there you go. That's the kind of mentality to have. That's like people who have goldfish as pets.
Yeah.
You know, or actually, that's not the conversation you want to have with a vet. Not a goldfish, but like an actual dog. Like a good news and bad news.
The good news is I shot it. The bad news is what? Hold on. Wait, strike that, reverse it. Sorry. The bad news is I don't know. I fucked it to death or something. I don't know. Did you bring a dog in or was it a cat? You're not even a veterinarian. You're doing this out of the back of a windowless van.
You gave me a sick animal, I'm in overalls, and I'm standing underneath an awning.
What's in the smoker? Don't ask.
Let's just call it lunch and move on. Let's just not call the cops.
Can I get you a sandwich?
Lord.
Yeah, Gideon and I went and bought a new mower today, because I was like, so, long story short, not going to share a lot of business about this, but got a message of, "Hey, can you take him to mow his yards today?" And he does 3 different yards.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I was like, no problem, especially with the situation. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And so I was like, well, I think it's just going to be easier. Let's just go buy a new damn mower. And hopefully we'll find one on sale. It's almost October, you would think.
Yeah, right?
So we just ran to Walmart. And we walk back to to the seasonal area, and it's all Christmas decorations now. And I was like, well, it's beginning to look a lot like I'm not getting a new fucking mower here, is what it looks like. And
wait, it's already Christmas?
Yeah.
They're already putting away the Halloween shit? Like they're not even playing with it anymore?
I don't know if they even set it out. They were like, you know what, this devil bullshit needs to go away.
What do you want to be for Halloween? I don't know, fucking tinsel. I don't know, a candy cane.
I guess an elf? I don't know. But
fucking tweak from South Park. I don't know.
I asked one of the dudes working back there, I was like, hey, do you have any gas mowers? Because I'm not opposed to buying like a battery-powered mower. They seem cool. But today, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to charge it and then take him to get, I know, I'm on a time frame. And so I asked the dude, and he's like, no, we don't. We don't have any gas mowers. I was like,
what a ridiculous fucking question.
I was like, all right, dude, I walked over, I saw that there were he goes, that's where all the mowers would be. They're just gas mowers. And Gideon's looking at me like, are you going to stab this prick or what? Are you just going to let him talk to you that way? And as we're walking, I was like, cool, thanks, man. We're walking out, and Gideon's like, man, he kind of laid it on you. And I was like, yeah, man, but I used to work at a Walmart. I get it. I'm lucky he didn't shoot me for asking a dumb fucking question.
He's got one gas mower left. It's behind the counter, and it's to run over people's feet that ask him where the fucking gas mowers are. It's here, you cocksucker! And then he goes home to bitch because he's like, you won't believe it. I ran over this cocksucker's feet with the only gas mower who's wearing steel-toed shoes, broke my own fucking thing. Only reason I got out of bed this morning.
And then he picked it up and he beat me over the head with it. It was a hell of a day. No, Walmart's not going to pay for the medical bills. That's why I'm here, wrapped up like Jacob Marley from the Ebenezer Scrooge movies.
He is like, people like that, they're like one conversation and a cold dinner away from just snapping on the universe.
Yep.
Like, you go home like, PB&J is not fucking dinner, and then that's it, and then it's just gone.
Yep, then that's how we get a Joker.
There you go.
But so we decided to run over to Lowe's because I'm sitting there, and Gideon was like, he goes, Mom said we could borrow hers, and I was like, yeah, but it's all the way out. I said, let's just, let's swing by Lowe's, and they had some. Thank you, Lowe's. They still had some, and Gideon pointed out one. He goes, "This one's self-propelled. It's got a bagger and a mulcher, and we can also put." And I was like, "And how much does it cost?" And he goes, $289. I said, "Cool. There's this Briggs and Stratton one for $120 that will likely break in 3 years, and I don't give a shit. Buy a cover for it. We're gonna try to make it last until we sell this stupid house."
We are going. It is 8 seconds away from being exposed to the elements. We're going to use it 3 fucking times and then let it sit all fucking winter.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I can waste $120 on something just to get you to your yards. I don't even care anymore. And then we get in the car. I was like, technically, you mow those yards more than I mow my yard. So I think this is probably your mower and you owe me some money.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm sorry, I don't speak English. And
he's got to be leasing equipment or something. There's got to be some life lesson there.
I will say it got to the point where, because Gideon just took over the yards that Glenn used to mow. And Glenn got to the point where when he got his license, we were like, here's the keys to the car, mower and gas cans over there. We'll see you in a couple hours. Enjoy. Call me if you cut your foot off. But he would actually, every time, he'd fill up the car, and he'd fill up the gas can and be like, hey, it's not much, but I'm like, nope, that's awesome. That's great. That's
more than I do now, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I would just wait until Nicole needs to use the Prius, and then of course, and then I just throw her a 20, and I'm like, here, fill it up twice.
Yeah.
You're taking the Prius? Cool. Here's cash. Buy yourself something pretty at the gas station.
Isn't the Prius, can't that run on used French fry oil or just the hopes and dreams of Elon Musk or something?
Well, the broken hopes and dreams of
of my stock portfolio
of an ex-road comic is what it runs on right now.
There you go. No, you're still a road comic. It's the road that's X.
Yeah,
it's not you.
Shit. Yeah. Well, the road's still there. It's the destinations, I think. We just keep qualifying this.
You can go to those destinations all you want. They're not going to let you inside, and nobody else is involved. But you can go look at it. If you want to drive to Georgia and just look at the place, like, yeah, I did some funny in there once. I suppose I'll pee on it, mark my territory, and right the fuck around.
Is that whiskey bar still open? Oh, they have outdoor seating? Cool, I'm going to go get shit-faced on the street.
Tee-hee!
So we get to the first yard. I was going to tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there, and I start unboxing the mower, because we got to put the fucking thing together, you know? And I'm unboxing the mower, and Gideon's helping me. And I look at where I keep my tools, and realize we had taken my toolbox out, and where I keep the other tools, it wasn't in the where I had them. And I was like, oh, no.
Wait, are you talking about the car?
Yeah.
Okay, so all you have now is no tools, a sledgehammer, and a fucking Briggs & Stratton that needs some fixing.
Yep.
Excellent.
Well, fortunately, the old dude that he mows for, he was like, what do you need? I said, crescent wrench and vice grips. That's what I need. He goes, you got it. I was like, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So I'm putting this together. I got 3/4 of the way through, and then the very dim alcohol-soaked light bulb fizzled a little bit. Didn't come on, but it fizzled, and I stood there, and I looked at Gideon, and I went, go look behind the driver's seat underneath whatever is underneath, and it was my mechanics tools with sockets and wrenches and screwdriver, everything I would possibly need to put this...
To work on a small machine?
Yeah. And he pulls it out, and he's like... he had the saddest look on his face. And he just goes, oh, Dad. And I just looked at him, was like, not a word. I need a 1/2-inch socket, and get me a 1/2-inch wrench. We're going to get this taken care of real quick. And he comes up and he hands it to me. And then he pats me and goes, there you go, Pop. There you go. And I was like, I will murder you and mow this yard for you and take your $80.
We are that age, and I'm so excited about it, where you forget where your shit is and you forget what you own. And it's so spectacular when you find something. Yeah. You're like, hey, I was going to buy 4 of those. Look at this goddamn thing. That's amazing. I have no way of cataloging my possessions anymore. That's wonderful.
Well, that's why, like, in 2 years, and I say it because in 4 years we're planning on moving. We're going to sell the house. But in 2 years, we're getting a dumpster, and we're going through from basement to attic, and just getting rid of shit. And then we're going to, right before we sell it, we're getting another dumpster, and going back through the house to go, do we really need this? Because when it comes time to move, I just want one giant U-Haul. I'm just going to shove all of our shit into it that we want to keep. And then I'm headed to wherever the destination is. That's it. I don't want to fuck with stuff. But hey, we got a new roof last week, and we're getting...
Did you finally? Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
the new roof is on. It's sexy as fuck. It is. I look at that roof, and I'm just like, my nipples get hard, and I can't wait. Tomorrow's the new siding.
No more black bowl drippings in the kitchen?
Nope, no more bowl drippings under the hood. We can cook when it's raining now, Ziggy.
We're making a brown bouillabaisse out of whatever the fuck's in the drywall. Jesus Christ.
Hope you don't mind. It gives it an earthy flavor.
We got the electric stove because the gas would have ignited a whole bunch of shit that's in the air.
We can't afford the insurance anymore, so... And by afford, they won't insure us anymore since the last time. But yeah, it's... so the house is going to be all sexified. It's going to be... And we'll have a couple years to enjoy it, and then this is some great grown-up talk. I love it. I can't...
Oh, God.
I'll be honest, I can't wait to fucking rent someplace, is what I can't wait for.
It ain't bad. It ain't bad. It falls under the heading of, well, just to go back to, like, forgetting what you own. Like, we went grocery shopping. Oh! Okay, so we go grocery shopping today. Nobody gives a shit. But this is you get old and you do shit like this. I'm only 42, but now I have 5 boxes of fucking cornbread stuffing in the back because I keep grabbing one, but I have no sugar in the house because I keep forgetting to grab it. Shit that I use every day. Shit that goes in sugar. Just the old bleached 5-pound fucking thing is sugar. Domino sugar. Yeah, no, can't remember. Can't be bothered. It's on every list. I take a picture of it on the phone. It can't be bothered. You want some fucking cornbread stuffing? We're golden. I'm making hush puppies out of that thing. The best thing about going grocery shopping in my neighborhood in the summer. It's not terribly far. We usually walk there, and we'll take the train back, and we'll just get a car back. It's just like a 20-minute walk. Not even that. On the way there is the Church of... I know that there's a real name for it, but the physical church, I don't know where it is or if it actually exists. It exists in this man's heart. This man is he's obviously an Asian immigrant. English is his second language, and he is the kindest human being on the planet. But what he does is that he sets up right in the middle of this block on the sidewalk, and it's a really thick sidewalk. It's like one of those like 3 or 4 that are wide, like 3 or 4 sidewalks worth wide. He's got a cardboard card table set up, and he's got himself some meals to go. But he's obviously like bought rolls and just hand ripped them in half, and he's just throwing them in like cellophane and wrapping them up in like a handful of things and like little mini bottles of water. And he's singing karaoke. Now, by karaoke, I mean that he is blaring this like very pro-God music, and he's plugged a microphone. His actually works. A microphone that actually works. But he's just plugged it into it, so the vocals are actually on his track, and he's doing his vocals over the top of them, ridiculously loudly, in a wonderfully thick accent, screaming, "God is so good to you!" and smiling at everybody. Now, he's almost always wearing a sleeveless t-shirt, passing out these meals, and he is singing at the top of his lungs, doing the wave by himself to a crowd of obvious heroin addicts. It is the best. There are like 3 people who are helping him out, and he is just trying to put joy into this goddamn universe. But he just see all these people on the nod, chewing at hand-ripped apart fucking 30-cent rolls, sucking on the water. Listen to this guy just belt into the universe, and I love walking past him on my way to the grocery store. Oh, Lordy. Oh, he's the best. I can't get the wife to stop and really take it in, but you don't really have to. And like people are literally on the sidewalk with like those mortar shell cans worth of like malt liquor, just not even in a bag, just sitting on the curb, just listening to this guy do his fucking concerts every Sunday.
Look, man, if Jesus is cool with it, then everyone else should be too.
Jesus is cool with a lot of stuff, and this guy is on his list.
Dude, that reminds me. So, we had the show. We had an outdoor show that actually fucking worked.
Oh, sweet.
Dude, shout out to BuzzBomb for taking care of us, as always. But as people started coming in, they're throwing extra tables out there, and the whole street's blocked off. You've been there.
Yeah.
And so I'm standing there, and I'm doing my set, and I'm about probably, 3/4 of the way through. And my spidey sense is tingling behind me, because there's a sidewalk behind me. Anyone can walk around. And I had, like, a train go by during my set, so I riffed on that. I had bicyclists cut through. And so I called them the Tour de Douche and roasted them on their way by.
Wait, they just went between a stage and people obviously watching what's on the stage?
Yeah, they sure did.
Isn't there a lot of room behind you, too?
Uh-huh. There sure is. I almost took the mic stand and just shoved it into some spokes, but I was
wouldn't they have had to go through, like, street barricades that keep the cars from coming through?
Yes.
Holy shit, that is some swagger right there.
Yeah.
What's it like to ride a fucking bike with a dick that's 12 inches long?
Right.
Jesus Christ.
How do you just put the balls on either side, or do you just put them over how do you keep them over your leg?
How did you get MAGA on a fucking 10-gallon and wear it backwards and look even stupider than the mental picture you have right now on that?
But so I'm standing there and I'm doing my set, and I've been having a great set, and I was doing a new joke, and it's a baby joke. It's got legs, and I was kind of fiddling with it, and like I said, I'm feeling the spidey sense tingle. I know somebody's behind me, but I don't know what's going on. And apparently, what had happened is this dude was shuffling up, carrying his shoes. And he just stops and turns, and he's directly behind me, and he's staring at me. And, like, during this joke, and it doesn't hit, and so I made a joke about it not hit. Like, it got a few laughs, but I had people come up to me afterwards. They're like, that actually was a funny joke. We were just watching the dude behind you who was holding his shoes because we were trying to figure out what was going to go on. But what was he up to? Was
he hammered on Buzz Bomb beer, or was he one of God's special heroes?
I think
was he listening to The Gentleman and eating a roll?
Yes, he was one of God's special GoBots, is what he was.
There you go. Go gadget methadone dispenser.
And so, well, my thought was, if this dude, and I'm doing my joke, but I had this thought of, there's somebody behind me. They're going to punch me in the back of the head. I've been punched in the back of the head before. I'll be fine. It's okay. Whatever happens. Now, just hopefully somebody yells if he tries to stab me, because then I can react. But if dude just, because we were talking after the show, and my buddy Al was like, "What would you have done had he punched you in the back of the head?" And Nicole was like, "He'd have turned, knocked the fucker out, turned back around, finished his set." And I was like, that's 100% correct. I was like, I saw the guy, a little bit. He was very thin, can't be that strong. It just would have hit me in the back of the head and been like, motherfuck. Just cracked him one, been like, well, all right, let's finish this joke about G.I. Joe.
but fair enough. I mean, none of that is not true. But the reality of the situation was he just came out of the fog and realized he was behind a stage. I'm guessing he was fairly harmless and didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, actually, somebody that was sitting with one of my buddies had jumped up, and she was really cool. She jumped up and she was like, "Hey man, we're actually doing a show. Why don't you come over, sit down, I'll buy you a beer." And I'm hearing this, and he was like, "Okay, cool." He came and sat down, and they're like, "Yeah, we're doing a comedy show, so just be cool." And Lizzie's like, "Okay." And then he ended up being like the best audience member.
Well, he just walked in. 5 seconds earlier, he was walking through Narnia. He didn't know what the fuck was going on. He was curious why his shoes were not on his feet.
My only assumption is that he was sitting there and he was laughing so hard because God was fixing my jokes.
Anything's funny because he was just like, every time you open your mouth, just dildos and Rainbow Dash is coming out of your mouth. Just anything.
Rainbow Dash wearing a dildo.
Gilpin family whiskey and fucking a guy with a cock on his arm. All the good things in life are coming out. I'd giggle my ass off too.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Right? Well,
and he's just watching the giant marshmallow tell his stories.
And I can only assume that this dude is the reason that you see like one shoe in a parking lot all the time.
Exactly. Who loses one shoe?
When we went camping, we're driving up to the state park, and we counted like 6 different incidents of one shoe, and I was like, when I saw that guy, because he sat down and then he just reverently, and they were nice kicks. They were like some Nike high tops.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't think he was homeless, because he was dressed pretty nice. I just think that he was, to quote Matt Bronger, high as giraffe pussy. I think he was just real fucked up. And he was trying to figure out why this ape in a checkered shirt was yelling about G.I. Joe and Elmer Fudd into a fucking microphone.
He takes the one tater tot out of his breast pocket, just says, "I told you it'd be a good day," puts it right back. He's doing fine. He's going to the beat of his own drum. That's absolutely true. But hey man, you get high as a fucking kite, take your shoes off, try not to lose them. Sometimes you luck into a comedy show and a free beer.
I'm just going to do some laps around the old state capitol, and then you just find yourself outside of a brewery while people are trying to tell funnies. And there you go.
Our lives intermingle a lot of the time in very weird cosmic ways.
Yeah.
Because I was going to tell you about the fact that 2 nights ago, my wife, in her sleep, did punch me in the back of the fucking head. She absolutely did. Closed fist. So I don't know what's going on. And I was like in half slumber. But she did this. And I rolled over. Now, at first, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? But she was so like ugly snoring and just drooling. I'm like, oh, there's no way in hell. She is not Daniel Day-Lewis. She is not acting this good.
Yeah.
She just straight up jacked me. But it got me. Yeah, real good.
Nicole headbutted me one time. I woke up and she had like a hand on either side of my head and like just hovering above me. And she had those, the half-slit sleepy eyes.
Yeah.
And it's dark in the room. And I was like, well, hi, baby. I thought, oh, maybe little middle of the night fun time for Captain Winky and the slippery tunnel. That's my favorite Hardy Boys story too.
Captain Winky and the slippery tunnel. That's a Harry Potter book. That was the one right after The Curious Case of Hermione's New Boobs.
Where'd Ron's wand go? I need another new wand. I found a magic spell deep down in the cave.
And I keep using my watch.
But yeah, she was just there, and I was like, hey, baby. And she just, all of a sudden, her face goes from this sleepy to this scowl, and then just BAM! And headbutts me, and I was like, well, fuck you. I gotta get out of bed. I went and I laid on the couch, and I was like, I am not going back to that bed. And so she gets up, and she's like, why did you come sleep on the couch? I said, why the fuck did you headbutt me? And she's like, oh, is that why my head hurts? And I was like, fuck your head! What about my face? My favorite, though, is when she's having a nightmare, or she'll have, dreams where dream me as being a real dick.
Hold on, let's just stop there. My favorite is when she's having a nightmare. That's a t-shirt. Or at least a Michael Bublé song. Please, Bublé.
Michael Bublé, help us out.
My favorite's when she's having a nightmare to do.
You know what? I could probably get my buddy Scott Hines to... He's the songwriter and lead singer of the Royal Hounds.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll get him to do something for us.
Excellent. But new outro music.
But I'll roll over and be like, snuggle up, and she'll she's still asleep having a nightmare, but she'll be like buck and be like, get the fuck off me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. All right. But I've done it too, because I have those dreams where she's like fucking around on me. And she'll, like, in the middle of the night, roll over. And apparently I've just stiff-armed her like the Heisman Trophy. And shoved her to the other side of the bed. And been like, nope. She told me one night, I was just like, nope. And just shoved her. She's like, do you remember that? I was like, I 100% do not. But apparently you're a real whore. I remember that part. So don't touch me. Because this is worth more.
So okay. Ange is... Is Nick... So how's Nick in bed? No, Nick in bed, does she, like, move around a lot? Like, does she have the Jimmy legs? Does she do a lot of, like, headbutting kind of activity? Or is this, like, a once a month she, like, might nudge you?
It depends. Like, she rolls over, because she'll start on her right side, and then she'll go to her back, and then sometimes to her left side. She doesn't... probably like once, maybe twice a month, she'll have some nightmares where it's usually me. I'm the one that, because as we've discussed, physically she's a wreck, and mentally I'm a wreck. So
yeah, fair.
So physically you hit me with a truck, and I get up and I'm like, well, that is gonna be tender for the next couple days. She sits wrong, in a comfy recliner, and she's like, I gotta get up and move. This hurts. Everything hurts. But yeah, I'm assuming Angie is running marathons every night.
It's, I would say, not dissimilar than the bombing of Dresden sleeping next to her. And not every night, but when it's on, it is there. And that's why I was so shocked by getting punched in the back of the head. Because usually it's the legs. She gets the Jimmy legs. And it's not every night, but when it is, and it's from the knee down. She is conducting some manner of concert that only her toesies can do.
She's my left footing a concert.
Yeah, either that or some manner of fucking magical spell. Because she's just yanking blankets off. Or just in the middle of her sleep, it is not I've realized that I've gotten used to falling asleep while being kicked in the shins. I'm okay with it now. Anything that happens with the shins, it just goes straight up, over, and down like a hatchet. I'm like, yeah, you'll have that. I did get a little bit of, I got a little bit of she got a little comeuppance, apparently, 4 or 5 nights ago.
Your penis.
Yeah, a little bit of comeuppance. The third, oddly enough. That's it. And I'll take a little bit of comeuppance the third for the trifecta. She woke up, and the way she told the story originally, she's like, I woke up and my hand was on her ass, so I freaked out. I had to go to the bathroom. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, I didn't want it to smell. I'm like, what are you... Wait, what? Like, wait, did you say on my ass? She's like, well, if I'm honest. Like, she's like, more in. More a couple of fingers. We're definitely looking for gold. Just digging and rooting around. I'm like, oh yeah, fair enough. And I'd slept through that apparently.
See, and I was going to ask if she was, because that I love waking up to that. when Nick's having a bowling dream.
See, that would be the best way to wake up. A couple of fingers in the ass, somebody else working the rod, and then the guy from the Publishers Clearinghouse with one of those big checks and a handful of balloons.
Strike!
That's a tricky right there. That's the trifecta.
That is.
That's a little comeuppance at there. It's a trifecta.
Oh, hey, what the fuck's the subject today, by the way?
Hell if I care. At this point, it is shenanigans while sleeping. Let's see. I knocked her out of a air mattress once. That was fun.
I'm glad you finished that sentence.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all.
I knocked her out. Anyway, what'd you have for dinner last night? She did.
It's usually the leg. She slapped me in the face the night after my oral surgery. So it was just a couple of nights ago. That was, It's a very minor thing. It's a minor oral surgery, but it's tender for a couple of days.
Uh-huh.
I've got this here gauze that I've been keeping next to my computer for when my teeth bleeds a little bit. Haven't needed it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, man. That was gnarly.
You're like the worst pirate.
I really am.
Old Red Tooth. What the fuck? That's not good. That's why we just pull all of ours.
I was going to go with Dick Beard the Buccaneer. I just don't know why that would be apropos of anything. But that just sounds like the worst. Today's subject is the worst pirate ever. Go. Dick Beard the Buccaneer. Beat that.
Dick Beard the Buccaneer. Reginald.
That's it.
Yep. That's it.
Just Reginald.
No qualifiers after that. No, I'm just Reginald. Do you have a crew? I have a wombat.
Yes.
He's got a peg leg.
Named also Reginald. It is a little confusing. It's more than a little confusing. We thought this through not at all.
No, this is where Reginald and Reginald. He has a peg leg. He walks in circles a lot though.
You try screwing a fucking wooden leg on a wombat. Tell me you're not a decent pirate. What does that have to do with piracy? I don't understand the word or the profession.
It's really hard. It's keeping him on my shoulder.
Yeah, that's why you have to take one of the legs off. See, he sits weird if there's 4. You need It's like
You take the leg off, and it just like you just push him down like a suction cup, and he just sticks there.
You took the leg off? You try shopping for a three-legged wombat.
I went to Australia. They're wily.
Is that where they're from?
Is that or New Zealand?
I have no idea. Is there a difference? I mean, to them, but
Yeah, to them, certainly. To us.
I'll tell you the difference. I'll tell you the difference. New Zealand beat the COVID. That's the difference.
Yeah.
They got a shit ton of sheep, and they're not sick, and hobbits.
Just coughing into wombat buttholes. Just filtered it. It filtered it.
That sounds like a band I would have bought the CD for from Sam Goody in 1997.
Coughing into
buttholes. It's no dumber than Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, I did buy Butthole Surfers, so why the hell not?
Yeah, their debut album and their biggest hit was Two Fingers Where?
That could be. I actually did have a subject, but I think the subject is we ignored the subject that we're not ignoring. I'm going to tell you at the very end. What was the... this kind of actually had a hell of it. I saw the Butthole Surfers live in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was going to a bunch of concerts. They were high. They were very high. They just had that one song that the I don't mind the sun sometimes.
Yeah.
This was them doing a lot of electronica. The lead singer was on a synthesizer just making noises into a microphone and then using the synth to make it have effects for an hour and 15 minutes. A song was not had.
I'm glad that I was sitting down for that shocking news that a band known as the Butthole Surfers was high the entire time. That reminds me of a bar in Louisville that we walked into. We had been downtown doing the downtown Louisville thing, and then Nick had found this restaurant that's like some hole in the wall, supposed to be secret restaurant. So we get a lift, we go down there. Not a great neighborhood. We get out, and the lift driver was like, he's like, "Do you want me to stick around?" And Nick's like, "No, go ahead." And he takes off, and of course the place is closed. And so
you're stab proof.
And so we're standing there, and she's looking at her phone. She's like, "Hey, just up the block and around the corner is a coffee shop that has beer and drinks and stuff. So it's a bar and coffee shop."
Let's say that's a bar. It's a bar with coffee.
Yeah. And I was like, "We're groovy. Let's go up there." So it's raining on us, and we're trying to hustle up. We walk in, and it's we're talking as we walk in because we think it's a bar. We were fucking wrong. So as we walk in, we realize how big of assholes we are. We get real quiet because there's people quietly sitting around. And there's this dude he's barefoot with his pants rolled up, his boots sitting next to him, literally screaming into his guitar.
Into the what do you call the bell, the hole?
The guitar hole. I don't know what that's called.
It is. No, you're right. It's the medical term is the guitar hole.
Yeah, the guitar hole.
You nailed it.
Yeah. Well, this guy was nailing something. He would scream into it and kick his amp and then do rattle some bells with the other bare foot, and then he'd play a few notes, and then he'd just blah, 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 and then strum with his face. And I looked at Nick and I was like, "Do they give mushrooms here? Because in order to enjoy this, we're going to need some."
Mm-hmm.
And I walked up, and people are just sitting there chin in hand, just give us more. And we walk up, and all the big espresso machines and coffee makers, and they had a decent beer list. And the dude walks up and he goes, What can I get you?" And he's super reverent. And I was like, "Whatever has the most alcohol in it that you can legally sell me." And he was like, "Oh, we're looking to have fun." I said, "No, I'm looking to survive this experience. Thanks." And he was like, "Oh." And Nick got something, and I chugged that beer, went up, and like they looked at me like that was the first time they'd ever seen some type of hilljack. This is in Louisville, but some hilljack that just chugged a barrel aged beer and walked up and went, "I'll have 2 more and a Coors Light to wash it down. Thanks."
So, the series of events was you were let off into a neighborhood in Kentucky where the Lyft driver says you don't want to stay here, and you said, "Sure we do."
Uh-huh.
Your evening took a turn because the place you wanted to go was closed, so you went to a coffee shop that's also a bar that's also a coffee shop. You walked in, having a discussion, realized there was a show going on, and felt like a dick immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Then realized that the show was going on was actually some manner of episode and a lunatic, and he's surrounded by people who consider condiments to be the same as cosmetics.
Yes.
And you stayed for the beer.
Well, it was raining outside, and we were cold.
There's no way I wouldn't have stayed either. That's spectacular.
Well, because that was the other thing. We looked at each other and we're like, "Oh, we're not missing this."
No. When you see somebody who doesn't know the difference between art and psychosis, like if a psychotic break can be like witnessed while you enjoy a cocktail, fuck yeah! Especially if there's no price of admission, there's no cover for that garbage. Yes.
Well, and here's the other. So this place is like in an old like mansion that they converted into this, and so there was off of this main room area, there was like a little mud room sitting area before you got to the kitchen. And so we just asked, "Hey, can we just sit on these benches in here?" Because and they're like, yeah. Because we're like, "Well, we've been walking a lot today." "Oh yeah, that's no problem." And so I had gotten up to go to the bathroom. And the music. Let's do this. The episode ended.
The air quotes we're doing, the music?
Yeah, the music.
I don't even know if you can call it performance. The happening?
This man's breakdown finished. I won't say finished. It took a pause.
He ejaculated inside the I can't even come up with the word guitar because it seems so
the guitar hole.
Yeah, the guitar hole. Thank you. Perfect.
But it played a perfect C note, is what it did.
Wow.
Yeah.
The first time music was had all evening.
Yeah. But I come out of the bathroom in time to watch this dude who I could hear people be like, "Oh, amazing," claps and applause and everything. And him, and I had seen where like there were women there who were just like googly-eyed over him, right? And I don't know if he's some local legend or what, I don't know what the fuck. But he walks into this area where he's keeping his stuff, where we are sitting. I come around the corner to watch him stop, look at my wife, and go, "Hey there." And have her look at him and go, "Nope." And then point at me, and I stood there just looking the way I do, and I went, "Howdy. You done screamed real good into that guitar."
I tell you what, that gentleman's stage name is Reginald the Wombat Pirate. And you got to witness a live experience called something like Poppy Seed Tangerine of the Heart.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I love Louisville. There's a really cool, like...
Yeah, I'm not opposed to...
Oh, yeah, but that was, like, it was less scary when we were being followed from the place that was closed to this other place. Because I was like, oh, because the woman... Because we got followed the entire way, and they were trying to bait us, because she was, like, screaming and being like, "Oh, help, help," and then I turn around, and they just keep walking towards us, and I'm like,
no,
I'm not stupid, and I don't, if all you have is, like, a pointy stick, or even, like, a small knife, because every house has a picket fence as we're walking past it, I'm like, I can tear a board off this pretty quick, because it's raining and it's wet, and I can defend us. But no, what if you have a gun? And then I get shot on vacation. And that's one thing I've avoided doing my entire life, is getting shot on vacation.
If only I could say that.
Oh. I mean, you could.
No, I can't say that it's absolutely true. I just don't feel comfortable. I can't make that funny. No, I just love, as a man who doesn't believe in the occult, ghosts, zombies, unicorns, except for the one that you own that you showed me. What falls into that category? God. If I walked into something like that, I'd be like, oh, this is where all the vampires hang out. I'm in every shitty vampire movie, and I'm in their bar right now.
And I was more comfortable with the idea of fighting my way out of a group of vampires than I was having to deal with the guy potentially with a gun. I was like, look, there's wood in here. I can figure it out. I know
it's worth the story.
I love, though, that you and I are brothers. We are such good friends and have been so close for so long. And you believe in nothing, and I'm like, yes, everything, fucking everything. Let me have it. We woke up while we were camping, and I heard like,
you literally believe in fucking Bigfoot.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not gonna fuck Bigfoot. I don't believe in fucking Bigfoot. Not without.
Hey, you believe in consensually fucking Bigfoot?
Thank you. Consensual sex with Bigfoot.
Yeah, sure.
I would make love to Bigfoot. I wouldn't fuck. Don't you sully it with your filth.
Well, there's got to be female ones, right? You're not getting. You're not getting railed by. You know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. That actually reminds me of a Kyle Kinane bit where he talks about, I'm gonna butcher it, but him like you hear your tent unzip and then Sasquatch just sticks his head in and goes, shh, no one's gonna believe you. But when we were camping, I'm laying there and we both kind of wake up and I was like, oh, what a great night's sleep, and I hear some rustling and I was like, oh, Squatch, it's Squatch, and Nick was like, no, squirrel, and then we're near like this bike path that's coming through, and I heard somebody, like a team of people on bicycles, and I was like, Squatch on bikes. She's like, no, bikers. And I was like, even worse. I'd rather have Squatch. Just let me have the Squatch.
Let me have the Squatch.
And other poems.
Oh God, just finish it.
By Shel Silverstein. I think that's a Shel. That's an Uncle Shelby.
We need to come up with different poets. You would assume that we would know a few more.
By Yeats.
There you go. We quote other comics so much. We should just have an episode that's called Zig and Larry Ignore Plagiarism. And then just do other people's acts. And at the very end, give them all the props at the end. This is what we stole.
No, we're just cover comics at that point.
That would be the shittiest thing of all time. Cover comics.
I tried to do that joke. I tried to do that as a bit one time where I was like, bands can make a decent living being cover bands. Or even bands that write their own material will still do, like, part of their concert will still be covers or medleys. And everyone's like, yay! But if I come up on stage and I do 5 minutes of original material and then I sit down on the stool and be like, hey, I remember when I was a kid and I had an uncle. He and I were very close. And he introduced me to a lot of great comedians. One thing that he and I bonded over was this one particular bit by a classic, brilliant comic. Really influenced me. But he and I, we spent a lot of time together, and we'd do anything for each other. And I remember that summer when it was the first time he called me. I was 12. I remember I was 12, and he was like, hey, I need some help. Can you come over to the house? I was like, yeah, it's no problem. So I went over, and I was a little shocked, but there it was. First time I'd ever seen a dead hooker. Anyway, here's George Carlin's 7 Dirty Words You Can't Say on TV.
I was almost going to tell you that the lead-in was too long for the payoff, and I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been wrong.
Because that's a joke where you have to... Because it's just like every time they do, you go see a band and they're like, here's a cover and it really means a lot to us, and they talk about it forever, and you're like, just play the fucking song. No one, and look, musicians do something I can't, which is have sex with whoever they want. I chose the one person I get to have sex with. She allows it, and it's fun. But the other thing that they do is play and write music. Can't do it. I'd like to be able to. But that's something that I just play the song. Just be like, hey, this is a really cool song, and it really influenced me as a songwriter, and I'd like to play it for you now. Here it goes. And then, the Foo Fighters play Salt and Pepper or something, which I would pay $1,000 to watch that.
That could have been the name of the guy in Louisville, his act. Like, I'm going to scream into this guitar hole. This is called the Foo Fighters do Salt and Pepper. And he's not actually doing anything involved with that at all. No. It could have also been called Communism in Pistachio Ice Cream. It doesn't matter.
Communism in Pistachio Ice Cream. That's another great 90s band.
Rub on the gravel. What the fuck are you talking about?
Jerk off with glass. What? No.
No, Kyle Glass. It's I think that's a person. God, I derail us really good sometimes.
That was my fault.
No, Kyle Gass. I'm thinking of Tenacious D. Jesus Christ.
Well, because I was like, are you making
Grandpa, come back from the light. I can't.
Don't want to, won't do it.
Nope, don't have to. That's what I realized the difference is between teens and 20s, 30s and 40s. Teens and 20s, you know all the people on the TV, and then in your 30s, you start to realize, like, shit, I don't know half these people. Who are these people? And then your 40s, you go, I don't give a fuck about these people. I'm out of touch and I don't care anymore.
In your 40s, if you have kids, you spend a lot of time justifying why you liked what you liked when you were in your teens and 20s.
They did it to us too, but happily enough, at least for all of the thousands of foibles of the old man, there was stuff like Led Zeppelin and the Doors. I'm like, all right, at least there's some validity there.
Yeah, I got a lot of Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson.
I got a lot of Waylon Nelson. It was my favorite act that I saw in Louisville, Kentucky.
He screamed into a guitar.
I'm gonna keep strangling that fucking joke until it dies.
He jizzed on a 3-legged wombat. It was the weirdest thing. But they called it art.
But I tell you what, I tipped him. He had a jar. He had an old Folgers can. I put $5 in that bitch.
Well, he had a jar, and I put the first tip in that, and realized that that's not what it was for. So I didn't fish it out. I just put more money in the...
I regrettably put some money into his Lebens cup. It was basically every liquid that could come out of a human being, plus WD-40, in a jar, and that was a prop.
It was the jar he squeezed the wombat off into.
Come on down to Louisville. Reginald presents everybody's squeezins in this cup.
We understand you came into the show late, but would you like to donate to the cup? No, I would not. No, thank you.
You were rude enough to speak while I was over here defiling this guitar hole. We're going to need a liquid for the cup. Wow, I'm going to go back outside where the people were stalking me, and beating them to death with a fence post was a good idea.
You know what? I think this is better. I'll be right back.
I'm not going to lie to you. I know where shit makes sense, and it's outside in the rain, beating to death strangers with somebody else's fence.
The Larry Smith story.
The Larry Smith story. Sandra Bullock would play your wife. I'm not sure who would play you. Let's see. It would be like The Rock, and that's it.
I was going to say Michael Chiklis on a good day.
No, we're going to give it The Rock, but we're just not going to bring up the fact that he's a Maori warrior in the middle of bumfuck Illinois.
Just wearing a sarong the entire time.
I think that's his... Isn't he New Zealand? I have no idea where this man is from.
The Rock?
I want to say... Yeah.
He's Polynesian.
Yeah, so like Fiji-ish. Fiji...
Like Hawaii, right?
I don't know.
I don't either. Hey Siri, where's The Rock from?
Here's an answer from IMDb.com. Dwayne Douglas Johnson, also known as The Rock, was born on the 2nd of May, 1972 in Hayward, California.
So we were very wrong.
Well, I know that he's fucking American. I just don't know his racial background. His nationality.
His
What's is that wrong? I don't know. What's the PC back? How about this? Actually, that reminds me. As long as we're going down this road,
should we?
Yeah, no, because I gave my spit to Ancestry.com and then to one of the other ones too, and I quit looking because they change it like every 6 months. They just shoot it out at you, and I got the most
like the guy in Louisville with his Leavens cup.
It's like his Leavens cup. They shot the newest one right out at me and it hit me right in the chin. So I look at it again, and now it's telling me. I know that I'm mostly German. It used to be 70%. Now it's 40%. According to Ancestry.
Okay.
It used to be 3%. Now it's 26% Scottish. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I'm thinking that every time they update it, it's because their information and their way of testing stuff has gotten better.
Sure.
But if that's the case, why are they still testing the sample that I sent in 2 years ago for Christmas? I don't think they are. I don't think they're like, but hey, bust out Ziggler's spit again. We had so much of it. He did wipe it, a tissue. He got a little swab that he sent it to us. Make sure that we do that again for him. I know he's waiting for it. This is not happening. They just have the same thing. Like, oh, let's do it again. So now it says 26% Scottish. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And you look, it's like actual results may vary. It could be anywhere between 30% and 0. So, according to the test, the brand new results from Ancestry.com, I have 26% Scottish, but it could be, in actuality, if they're honest, up to 30 or not at all. We don't.
Wow.
But this is our brand new. This is technology at work for you, pal.
Can you imagine everyone doing their job like that? Well, besides, I mean, if we did try to do our jobs like that, be like, look, it's somewhere between 30% and jack shit.
30%, between 30%. I was too hungover to give a fuck, and I guess what? You get to pick.
That was me Friday. That was me Friday. I should have just sent a message and been like, "Hey, I'm taking part of a sick day because you're getting somewhere between 0 and 30% of me not giving a dick." I don't give a fuck right now. I hurt everywhere and I'm exhausted. I've gotten 3.5 hours of sleep, and this was the dumbest thing I've done in a while. And I'm 42, so there we go. At 22, I could recover. You could have thrown me off a roof, dumped a fifth of whiskey down my neck, and then lit me on fire and had woken up and been like, all right, what time is it? 8? Oh, man, I got to be at work at 8:45. Here we go. All right, I need a Mountain Dew and some oatmeal, and I'm good to go for the day. And now I'm just like, I need a triage and an IV bag and a young priest and an old priest and a motorized wheelchair.
That's the bitch about working from home is that it's so easy to phone it in. It's like your boss saying, "How you doing today?" The minimum. Oh, I thought you said, wait, you say how or what?
Yeah, I rolled out of bed and put on I put on some swim trunks on Friday morning.
I did that a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Just rolled out swim trunks, a Golden Girls tank top, and one flip-flop, and made it downstairs in time to log in. It was like, fuck it, I can't find the other one. Who cares? And I just meant to take it off and forgot.
I love that they make Golden Girls tank tops in your size.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, buddy, So, we're at an hour.
Mm-hmm.
What was the topic today?
Television that shaped our youth.
Oh, I think we did a great job of ignoring that. What did we learn today?
Let's see. Go to Louisville, but don't look at TripAdvisor.
Listen to your Lyft driver.
Wombats, we don't know where they come from, much like The Rock, but they're more interesting the fewer limbs they have.
Much like The Rock, yes.
Let's see. This probably it's got to come in threes. Oh yeah, my wife will kill me, and I'll sleep through it.
Or she'll finger fuck you, and you'll still sleep through it.
And I'll sleep through that too.
Yeah.
Also, I think my microphone's broken. That's it.
The fuck did your dog do to it? Did your dog go in there and hump it? Is that what happened?
It's entirely possible. The dog does a lot of weird shit that I'm not privy to.
Your dog used your microphone as a fleshlight. And I've seen your dog's dick. It makes sense that it's broken now.
That was almost the picture instead of your ass was going to be the dog's dick.
I love and hate that picture is what you have.
I love and hate the fact that my wife took it and sent it to me.
Well, I was talking about the picture of my ass.
Oh, I'm keeping that forever.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Well, that's what happens when you give Larry Smith free beer in the green room. And then buy me shots after my set is over.
If you... hold on, I'm not letting you get away with that, because that wasn't in the green room. That was at the table when you were all signing autographs and merch.
No, I mean... Yeah, I know, but I'm saying when there's free beer in the green room, that's what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you own the fact there's a bunch of people waiting to have you sign a T-shirt, you just took your ass out.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get signed too.
So, learning not being either of our strong suits, and you, what have you learned?
I learned that you are the exact percent of Scottish as I am giving a shit about my day job. I learned that my ass brings you great joy.
Let it be sung from the mountaintops.
I didn't learn so much. Was reminded that we suck at technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This one was all on me, or possibly the Chinese who made this fucking thing. No, it says made in China. I'm not breaking balls. Made in China.
And what else did I learn? That regardless of our beliefs, my staunch belief in a Sasquatch and unicorns, and your staunch belief that I'm an idiot for believing in those things.
I didn't say that.
I know, but that's my words, and look. This is my part. This is what I learned.
Don't put words in my belief.
I'll put something in your mouth.
There it is.
There. That we can still remain friends, and I think honestly that should be an inspiration to everybody.
I love the way you say we can still remain friends, as if it's something we're striving to do, despite hardships and horror.
Right.
We can still remain friends. Those of us in Japan and you in the U.S. during World War II, even though we put some people in boxes over here as well.
Everybody gets a chain link fence.
Jesus.
Even him. Yeah, I'm just saying, it's not even maybe in spite of, but because of. Our love grows strong. I don't know. I love that I could be on about something and you can look at me and go, "You're a fucking idiot." And I go, "Yeah." And you can go on about something and I can go, "When do you have any whimsy in your life?" And you go, No. And I'm like, "Yay." And then I pick you up and give you a piggyback ride. And then I force my whimsy on you.
Quit forcing your whimsy on me. My soul is shriveled up like a raisin.
Nope, we didn't establish a whimsy safe word. I will push all this whimsy on you.
If the Mormons have a soul variation of a craisin for a soul, it's what I got. A pump of my whole heart.
You are now the new Leavens cup for my whimsy deposit.
Second Larry, ignore the Leavens cup for the whimsy deposit.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end.
I don't see why not.
Oh, shit.
You gotta do the tag.
I love you, buddy.
Love you back.